Hi guys, welcome to Vinyasa Flow Yoga. It's Monday and we're going to do a bug flow tonight, so it's gonna involve some amphibious creatures as well, some with scales, and yeah, just kind of have a that sort of theme tonight, and hopefully leading up to a sort of progression into a back bend of the bridge and upward facing bow or wheel pose at the end of the practice. So a lot of those, the bug poses are heart opening and also front body opening. So that'll give us a nice preparation for the final pose at the end. So let's get started in child's pose. Come onto your mat. So bring your knees wide and big toes are touching, and we'll start child's pose, so stretching the arms forward and bring the forehead to the mat. Take long deep breaths in and out through the nose. Allow your shoulders to sink down and your hips to sink back towards your heels. Begin rocking your head on the mat side to side. So with your forehead on the mat, you're just rocking in between the eyes there and just letting your head feel very heavy, allowing the neck muscles to relax as you massage your forehead out on the mat. Continue letting your arms feel heavy. Take another deep breath in and out. And then relax that. Take your left arm straight out to the left. Your right arm's pointing forward, and then gaze to the left. Pulling that left bicep down to the ground. Taking it into a twist, so lifting up and sliding that left arm underneath your right. Bring the shoulder to the floor and head to the floor. Alright, so slowly release from here. Reach your left arm forward and take your right arm straight out to the right. Gaze to the right. Alright, go ahead and lift up, and let's take that right arm underneath your left. Release your head to the floor. Breathe deep into the shoulder area. Breathe into the back. Continue letting your hips sink back towards your heels. Take another deep breath in and out. And let it go. So reach your arm forward, come up into tabletop pose, bring your hands underneath your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. Good, rounding the spine, coming into a cat arch, and then inhale, release the belly, lift your chin, chest forward, and pull the shoulders down and back. Exhale, round the spine, inhale, and release. Two more. And then back to center. Move around with circle motion. Pick a direction to move into and bend into your elbows. Switch it up and go the other direction. Just letting your head feel heavy. Drop it down. Breathing deep into the sides of your body. And try to think of you're loosening up through your shoulders and through your hips. and just letting your joints go really loose here. You're gonna channel fluidity as best as you can into this movement. Get the breath flowing. Also just paying attention to your hands, so spreading your fingers nice and wide and just noticing the weight transfer into your hands, into your fingertips, back into your knees and shins and feet. All right, come back to center. Take your right leg up into the air behind you and then take your right knee behind your left knee. So holding your legs there, now walk your hands forward and start sinking down through the head and chest. Maybe the head touches the floor. Pressing into the mat with your hands to pull back into the hips. Another deep breath in and out. And slowly lift up. Walk your hands back underneath your shoulders. Lift your right leg up and then swing your right leg out to the right. Toes pointing forward. Lift your right arm up to the sky. And then bend your elbow and bring your hand behind your back, reaching for your left hip. Opening the heart, opening the chest, kind of rolling that left shoulder back or right shoulder back as best as you can. Releasing from there, reach your right arm up and then sweep down. Come on up, reaching up with both arms here, and then take the left hand back onto the left heel and then tip back. Reaching up through the right arm, perhaps looking up at the ceiling. If it feels like you need to, you can look over that left shoulder to get a little bit more balance there. But ideally, looking up at the ceiling, pressing your hips forward into extension. To come out, we're going to kind of fall to the left to come out, reaching over to the left, and then pull forward and then back to center. Bring your right knee in and then switch sides. Take your left leg out, and we're going to take that left knee behind the right knee to start in this variation of puppy pose. Walk your hands forward and sink through the head and chest. Activate the stretch by pushing into your hands to pull back into the hips. And slowly start to lift back up again. Walk your hands underneath your shoulders. Lift that left leg up and then swing it out to the left. Lift your left arm up to the ceiling and then bend into the elbow and roll open into the chest. Reaching for that right hip behind you. Another deep breath in. And then release. Take that arm up, sweep it down, rise up, reach up with both arms, take the right hand back and reach for your heel. If you can't quite reach like you can on the other side, you can tuck your back toes under to make your heel a little more available to you. But otherwise, just keep the top of the foot flat to the floor, and you're lifting up through the arms, pressing your hips forward, rolling both shoulders back, ideally trying to square the shoulders and the hips forward. That left leg is activated, so you're reaching through the outer edge of the heel. Now to come out, we're going over to the right side first, and then engage and coming back to center here. So bring the left leg back in, and let's go cow-cat. Round and release. Exhale. And inhale. Come back to center. Okay, our first one is going to be a variation of a grasshopper position, and then we'll just kind of incorporate into a little bit of a flow. So we're going to take that right leg back behind you here, and we're going to lower through chaturanga to bring the chest all the way down to the floor, and then the chin comes to the floor too. And then press back up. And then bring your right knee in and then do the left leg. So left leg's up. And then you're lowering down. And then press back up. Okay, if you need to, or if you find that it's too much extension into your neck, then you can bring the forehead to the floor. We're just going to do one more on each side. So I'll show you with just the forehead to the floor. You're just tipping down, nose or forehead to the floor, and then pushing back up. Those elbows are really close in by your sides. Left leg. And then pushing back up. All right, so walk the hands forward, tuck the toes under, and then lift up into downward facing dog. Walk it out. Maybe swaying the hips around side to side. So moving into a sun salutation flow, incorporating some scales, which is the cobra pose, and the bug, which is the a little grasshopper. So starting at the top of the mat, let's walk forward, halfway lift, inhale, and then exhale, fold, and then rise up all the way. Deep breath in, exhale, let's fold forward, come down, inhale halfway, exhale, hands to the floor, step your right foot back, drop your right knee to the floor, inhale, crescent lunge, exhale, hands to the floor, step back into plank pose, then drop both knees and lower to grasshopper, and then come forward into cobra. Exhale, back down, back into grasshopper. So tuck the toes under, and now you're pushing with your hands to slide your bottom up. So the chest, the center of the chest comes back in line with the thumbs, and your bottom comes up and your belly lifts off the floor. Then from there, pushing back all the way to that child's resting pose, and then lifting the hips up for downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, left knee down to the floor. Arms lift up, inhale, exhale, hands to the floor, and step forward to the top of the mat. Inhale halfway, exhale fold, and inhale rise up all the way. Exhale, release all the way down, forward fold. Inhale halfway, exhale, hands to the floor, left foot steps back, left knee down. Inhale, both arms up, exhale, hands to the floor. So coming back into that left leg is going to lift, the right knee is going to, right leg is going to lift, left knee is going to come to the floor. Go into that half grasshopper, flying grasshopper, and then slide forward into your cobra, and then come back down, and then tuck toes under, come back into just regular grasshopper, and then push back all the way to child's pose, lifting the hips up for the downward facing dog. Step your left foot forward, right knee to the floor, arms are up, inhale, crescent lunge, exhale, hands to the floor, and then you're coming back into that plank pose with the left leg lifted. Now drop your right knee to the floor, and then lower your chest, so legs still up, grasshopper, slide forward into cobra, so you can go into the high cobra, or you can be here in the low cobra as well. Tuck toes, push back into grasshopper, push all the way back into child's pose, and lift up through the hips, back into downward facing dog. Walk it out, moving the hips from side to side. Look forward at the hands, step or hop up to them. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold, inhale, rise up all the way. Reach up and bring your palms together and bring the thumbs to the back of the head. Leaning back into the hands, leaning back into the thumbs, and trying to draw your elbows forward. Try to relax your shoulder blades down your back as best as you can. And reach up with your arms, then take the hands back behind you, clasp your fingers back behind you, pull back, look up, exhale, bow forward with straight legs. One more breath, inhale and exhale. Rising back up. Arms reach up. Hands together, palms touch, and then thumbs to the back of the head. And then exhale, chop forward, come down. Halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step your right foot back. Drop your right knee to the floor. With that crescent lunge. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming down, plant the hands to the floor. Back into that grasshopper, the flying grasshopper. So the left leg is back, your right knee comes down, and then you lower your chest in between your hands, holding, elbows in, and slide forward. Come into your cobra pose, high cobra. Bring it back down. Take your arms forward, and then take your arms back and find locust pose. So point your toes. Palms face face each other behind you. So they're facing each other, and you're squeezing your shoulder blades down your back. So think about your shoulder blades sliding to your back pockets as best as you can, lifting your feet up off the floor, pointing your toes, and trying to squeeze and squeeze some more. Another 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands underneath your shoulders. Tuck your toes under, push back into grasshopper pose. And then push all the way back to child's pose. Lift up into downward facing dog. Walk it up. Right foot steps forward. Left knee to the floor. Arms up, holding a little bit longer in this crescent lunge. Just letting the hips sink down. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And bring the hands to the floor. Okay, back you go. Lifting that right leg up, and then the left knee comes down to the floor. Lower your chest. Try to lift that leg high. And then slide forward. Your cobra, bring it down, another locust. Reaching forward and reaching back. And reaching back through the hands here as best as you can, shoulder blades coming down your back pockets. Lifting your feet, pointing your toes. Five, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hands to the floor. So we're pushing back, tucking the toes under, pushing back to grasshopper, and then push back all the way to that child's pose. Lift up the hips, come up to grasshopper, or downward facing dog. Walk it up. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Look forward at the hands and step up to them. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold, and inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale, arms down by the side. Step your feet wide as your mat. Take your arms up again. Take your hands back behind you, clasp your fingers behind you, and pull back through the knuckles. Arms lifting. Bow forward, bend your knees. One more breath. And stand up all the way. Reaching up. Exhale, arms down by the side. Step your feet together. Toes are touching. Reach up with both arms. Utkatasana. Squeeze your knees. Reach through the arms. Bring the hands to your heart. Take an inhale, then exhale, twist to your right side. Left elbow onto the right knee. Press your elbow down and roll the right shoulder back. Try to keep your knees together and shins together. Release that twist. Fold forward. And neutral spine. Inhale and exhale. Slowly roll up the spine. Reach up to the ceiling. And bring your hands to your heart and sink down into Utkatasana. Pull the hips back. Inhale and exhale, twist to your left side. Right elbow onto the left knee. And then just start pressing down. Try to roll the left shoulder back. Knees are together, shins are together. Breathing. All right, slowly release out of that twist. Bring the hands to the floor, rise up through the hips, walk it out or shake it out. Roll up the spine, reach up. Deep breath in, exhale, release, fold forward. Inhale halfway. Exhale, hands to the floor and step or jump back. Find plank pose. Lower through chaturanga. Bring it into up dog or cobra. Do up dog. Difference from cobra in that your hips, tops of thighs are off the ground. So a little bit deeper of an extension through the spine and heart. Lift your chest forward, roll your shoulders back. Come back all the way to downward facing dog. Walk it out. Lifting your right leg up into the air here. And then bending your knee. And then coming into more of a scorpion flow here with this knee bent. So we're going to take it out to the side very slowly with that right knee and then bring it to the right elbow and then come back around. And then come over to the, or I'll change angle here so you can see it a little bit better. So right knee is open and you're slowly coming forward, tapping and then extending and then opening or closing it. One more time. Down, tap, extend, and then kicking around and opening. Switching sides. Left leg, we into scorpion flow. So bend into the knee, open up the hip. Try to keep your shoulders square. It's just your hips that are opening to the left. And then you come forward, bring it down, bring the knee to the elbow, and then kick around, and then bend. Again, coming down, and extend, and push. One more time. Okay, and then bring it back to downward facing dog. Come forward into plank pose, lower through, all the way down to the floor, and then with your chest onto the floor and your elbows bent by your side, we're going to do rolling shoulders in cobra pose. So just a very, staying in just your baby cobra, but practicing getting those shoulders rolling down and back so that you can start to activate a little bit more through the upper back. So head to the floor, roll your shoulders and just practice squeezing your shoulder blades through your scapula down and back. Imagine you're trying to squeeze a pencil in between your shoulder blades. So squeeze that much, elbows pulling back, and then you lift up. Okay, and then we can move a little bit faster. So coming down, roll and squeeze, inhale, exhale, roll and squeeze, exhale, roll and squeeze, inhale, exhale, one more time. Inhale and exhale. Push up and then push back into child's pose. Just take child's pose for a moment here, stretch out the back. Deep breaths in and out. Use your next inhale to rise. Tabletop, downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up into the air. Step forward with your right foot. Going into lizard lunge. So reaching your, just walking your right foot out to the right. So lots of progressions for the lizard lunge. And I'm just going to change the angle here. So hands are in the inside part of the right foot here. So you can stay upright. My back toes are tucked under. You can also have your back foot flat onto the floor for here. So feel free to stay here or boost yourself up with blocks or a cushion. Otherwise, next progression here, if you feel comfortable, is coming down onto the forearms, or maybe just one forearm, and looking over to your right side. You can keep your right knee open, and you can also open the sole of your foot a little bit. So again, that's just another variation of the pose and getting into the hip flexors and just trying different angles out. So that is fine to do as well for exploration. Otherwise, you're just holding here and try to breathe into your back, into the hips, trying to let everything sink down. We're going to revisit this, this pose again here. We're going to just take about 2 more breaths. All right, so slowly press yourself up. The back toes are tucked under here, and then we're just going to take it back all the way, and we're going to flip over into Wild Thing. So the right leg's up, and then we're just going to flip it over. So Wild Thing is with your right knee bent and your left leg straight, or you can flip all the way over into Rock Star, which is pretty much almost like a one-arm bow pose. So press it or squeezing your glutes to extend your hips here, push through your feet, and then coming back the other way, flipping around to plank, lowering through chaturanga, up dog or cobra, and then coming back into downward facing dog. Walk it out, breathe it out. We're going to go to the other side, so that left leg is going to lift, and you can bend into the knee, just kind of open up that way. Go ahead, step forward. So you step into lunge, or maybe just aim for the left side of the mat anyways, and bring the hands on the inside part of the left foot. So walking your back knee back if you want to. So you're just kind of basically moving into more of the split position, and then progressing as you would like to with your arms. So dropping your chest further down, of course, is going to feel much more intense than staying lifted upright. So just make sure that your exhales are nice and deep, and you're trying to relax into the pose as much as possible, and that you feel no pain, just maybe some discomfort here as your muscles are stretching. It's pretty intense stretch getting into the hips here. Notice how your exhales can help you feel a little more relaxed into the pose as your muscles begin to loosen up over time. All right, so slowly start to lift back up again. And then we're going to take it back up into that 3-legged down dog. So shoot it up into the air, and then you're coming forward into that 3-legged plank pose, flipping around till you find your Wild Thing position. So Wild Thing, or flipping and opening up, maybe looking up at the ceiling here. Flipping back around. And with control here, back into plank pose, going through chaturanga, beginning to up dog or cobra, and then take a rest in child's pose. Hands can also come back behind you, and dropping the head. Deep breaths into the back. Alright, so slowly start to come back up, and then walk your hands forward, tabletop downward facing dog. Walk it out. let the hands step or hop up to them. Halfway lift, inhale, exhale, fold. Inhale, rise up all the way. Exhale. Okay, so next we're going to take a balance pose. There isn't a lot of bug balancing poses that aren't super advanced. So there's firefly and there is grasshopper, but those are pretty advanced. So we're just going to do a warm up for grasshopper, which is pretty good as well. So pretty challenging, and we're not even in the full pose. So we're going to start. It's a figure 4 position to start with. So balancing on the left foot and taking the right ankle on the left foot. So in your standing figure 4 position, I'm just sinking back. Okay, and we're just going to hold this. So we're just going to get the hips warmed up here. Just another deep breath in and out. Then we're going to go to the other side, so just slowly rise up. Switch sides. That's your standing figure 4. Balancing on the right leg, so left ankle goes on the right leg. Keep your left foot flexed for this one. And you're just sinking back. So chest lifted, hips drop back. Imagine you're sitting back into a chair. The sides of your body just growing long. Imagine that. Breathing deep into that stretch. Should feel that in the low back, right to the glute muscles, and then slowly rise up. Okay, so the prep for grasshopper here is balancing on the left foot, and then going into that figure 4 stance again, into the balance pose, and then we're taking a twist. So we're going to start by taking the forearm, the right forearm, onto the sole of the right foot. Right forearm or wrist onto the right foot. And then the left hand will just be on the hip. Okay, so you're just kind of seeing how that feels. If you feel like you have more movement in your upper body for that twist, then you are down here, putting your elbow on your foot. And just working that way and trying to get hips down low. So in our prayer twist, and just holding that. Okay, and then slowly release. Okay, shake it out. Balancing on the right foot, and the left foot is going to come under the ankle. So flexing the foot and sinking down low. Okay, so when you're ready for the twist, just start by bringing that forearm or wrist onto the sole of the foot and the right hand onto your hip. Okay, and just notice how that feels in your body. Upper body should feel like it's twisting pretty good. And then you need to sink down a lot lower if you're going to do the prayer twist. So the elbow is on the sole of the foot. Maybe even getting a little bit more of your foot. So maybe bringing the foot right up on top of the elbow onto the tricep. And again, you just need to sink down quite a bit to achieve that. Okay, and then releasing from there. Okay, so that's pretty good for a prep for a grasshopper pose, for the standing grasshopper pose. And then we're just going to move right along doing some more lizard positions right now. So stepping to the top of the mat, reaching up, exhale, fold forward, inhale halfway, and then exhale, jump or step back, finding the plank pose, and going through chaturanga, up dog cobra, and then take it back into child's pose. Push up into downward facing dog. Lift your right leg up, and then step it forward. All right, so right knee to the floor or left knee to the floor, arms reaching up, coming back into lizard lunge. Okay, so this one's going to be a lot more activated and maybe moving into the flying lizard position. So tuck your back toes under, lift your back knee up off the ground. Okay, so if you feel like this is all you can do right now, that's fine too. If you want to get down lower, say on your forearm, then you can do that too. So keeping your right leg, or sorry, your left leg activated is pretty key to just kind of keeping control in this position. So with the flying position is basically you're going to take your right arm or your right shoulder right underneath that right knee. And then you're going to start, just going to change my position. So you're just going to start by touching the floor and dropping the head. Okay, so you'll feel that deep hip stretch, and then when you are ready, you are lifting your hands up off the floor and holding that position and pulling up on that shoulder so that arm is moving up. So you're getting a lot more stretch in your glute and your hip flexor with that force. So again, very activated stretch. And releasing. Bring the hands onto the floor, bring the knee onto the floor, and then take it back into tabletop position. Pop up into downward facing dog. Flow forward into plank pose, lower third chaturanga. Into up dog or cobra. Let's hold. So I'm in high cobra pose. The tops of my thighs are onto the floor. And I'm just really breathing into my belly, pulling the shoulders back. And then coming back all the way into downward facing dog. Other side, left leg is going to lift up and then step forward. Okay, so right toes are tucked under. We're going to activate that stretch, the lunge stretch, by lifting the knee, pushing out through the heel so that my hamstrings and glutes are activated from there. So again, you're just kind of starting maybe by just getting nice and low, taking your arms out to the side and bowing the head, and maybe you're just holding there. And then if you want to, then you're taking your arms up. All right, and then slowly releasing out. So dropping your back knee to the floor, and then just leaning to the right side to slowly release and take that left leg back. Pop up into downward facing dog. Come forward into plank pose, lower third chaturanga. Into up dog or cobra, and then we're going to take frog pose position. So coming down into the ground and bakasana. So bending into the knees and grabbing onto the feet. So this is not the bow pose, so you're not going to lift up the shoulders. You're actually just trying to pull the feet in towards your seat. So pull into the feet, and you should feel that really deep stretching through the fronts of your thighs. So your quadricep muscles, hip flexors, all stretching out. Head could be on the floor. I'm working on your shoulder position too. So you can lift the head, lift the shoulders if you would like to, and then work on getting the elbows closer together behind you. So you start to activate your upper body as well. And then release down. So release both feet, and then just give it a shake out. Come up into Sphinx position. So onto your elbows and relax. Bring your chin in towards the chest. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Okay, from Sphinx position, we're moving into a variation of frog pose where your elbows are to the floor and they're right underneath your shoulders, maybe a little bit wider from your shoulder. Turn your left forearm in, and that's fine. Turn your left forearm in, and then we're just going to kick that elbow out to the side. So what we're going to do is bend into the right knee, and then bring that foot. So you're looking over the shoulder, and you're trying to draw that heel in towards your butt. And then you're working on pointing that elbow up towards the ceiling. So again, deep stretch in through the quadricep. Feel free if you feel like there's any too much flexion in your knee, then this is definitely not the pose for you. It does put a lot of flexion into the knee. All right, and then slowly releasing. Okay, and then we're doing the other side here. So you're turning your left or your right arm just in slightly so that you can turn, and then you're bending into your left knee, and then you're catching the top of the foot, and you're applying quite a bit of pressure to draw that heel in nice and close to your bum, and trying to point that elbow straight up towards the ceiling, and then work on just keeping that left hip as well dropping to the floor so that all that stretch is going into your quadricep, into your hip flexor as well. Should feel that in the shoulder. It's putting a lot of stretch into your shoulder, opening up and rotating externally, which is also a bonus. And then releasing from there. All right, so coming back to a Sphinx position, drop your head down, and then a variation of Sphinx position, lifting your elbows, more extension through the spine, and then relaxing back down. So hands underneath your shoulders, push up, draw your knees in, and then bring your elbows to the ground, and just move around circle motion. Floating around in the hips, moving back and forth, front and back. And then slowly release from there. So walking your hands up, tuck toes under, lift up. Walk it out. All right, stepping your right foot forward, toes point to the left side of the mat, and wide-legged standing forward fold, and maybe moving into any kind of progression of a lateral split that you'd like to try here. So just kind of going into wherever you feel like you would like to go into. That's not where your edges of your feet are not lifted off the floor. So if you're like that, then you've gone too far and you need to walk your feet back in. But if you can maintain the pressure of the outer edges of your feet to the floor and walk your legs out into a wide split, then you're good. And you can stay here and you can hold yourself up like that, or maybe you're bowing forward and sinking a little bit deeper into the position. Let's just hang out here and stretch through the back body and just feel that stretch through the hamstrings and through your adductor muscles here, inner lines of the legs. Breathing deep into the stretch. If it feels good, walk your arms out. Stretch out long through the sidelines of the body and kind of keep the hips pulling back. Knees can be flexed a little bit or completely, it can also be completely straight in this position as well. So if you have really tight hamstrings, then having bent knees is not a necessarily bad thing. So you'll still feel it, and then you'll just eventually the muscles will start to relax a little bit more, and you'll find your knees straightening out eventually. with practice. All right, so slowly start to walk up. We're staying in this position here, but making a twist into the upper body. So the hands are together, and then the right hand can either rest on your low back, palm facing the low back, and you rotate and look up the shoulder, or reach up with the right arm. Switch sides, right hand down, left hand either on your low back, or reach up with your left arm. Okay, and then releasing down. Moving forward. All right. So next here, moving into a prep for firefly position, but not moving into it just because it is an arm balance pose that is quite advanced. So we'll just move into the prep pose, see how you feel. If you would like to try this at home and use blocks to lift your hands up higher, that may help you. If you have if you have the flexibility, then that's a big bonus for getting into firefly position. But it does require some shoulder strength as well. But you do need to start in this wide-legged forward fold and dropping the hips down and then moving the hands back as best as you can, and then allowing your inner thighs to kind of rest on your triceps. So what you need to do is squeeze onto there. So you're going to push your inner thighs right onto the tops of your triceps, and then maybe just sinking down and just holding that stretch. So even just holding on the floor without even lifting your feet up off the floor is quite a good stretch in through the hips. So an activated stretch. So this is what it is, prep pose, and then the full pose is lifting your feet up off the floor, walking that way, and eventually lifting your feet up off the floor for that pose. But having blocks is definitely a good help for the position. Now I'm not going to do it tonight, just because we haven't quite warmed up enough for that whole pose. But doing the prep pose is definitely helpful in just a good hip opener. Holding this for a minute or more, and just breathing into that position. Again, the weight of my inner thighs, my thighs are just basically weighting on my elbows. My elbows are bent. Top of my triceps there. That's propping my hips up. And gravity's doing all the rest. Okay, we're gonna slowly lift up, come on out of that position, and then just start walking forward. And again, not any jerky motion, we're just gonna walk out of that position, step back into plank pose, and then lower through chaturanga. Bring it into an up dog or cobra. Take it back into child resting pose and just breathe it out there. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out here. All right, so slowly lift up. Let's come up into tabletop pose and then come down into our next bug position, which is butterfly. So bring the soles of the feet together, and the hips may feel nice and open from that previous pose. Take your hands back behind you to start. So what we want to do, just have a flat back and open the knees. Breathing into the chest, dropping the shoulder blades down and back. All right, and then taking your hands in front of you and grabbing onto the under edges of your feet. So going forward here, without rounding the spine, you're just trying to have a flat back as you lean forward. So you're not rounding the spine or pulling, pushing your spine out. You want to pull forward as best as you can. As you pull forward, you can press your elbows down into your shins to help the knees to open a little bit more. And you just keep leaning forward as you're pulling your feet up towards you. And then releasing, holding onto the edges of your feet with just your left hand. Lean to the left and bring your right hand onto your right knee, opening up the side, a little bit of twist, maybe reaching your right arm up. And then switching sides. Right hand holds down, you're grounding into your right side. Left hand in onto your knee or thigh and just feel that stretch here on your left side, or reaching up with your left arm and breathing. And then releasing. Okay, our next creature here is kind of the insect of the sea. It is a crab position. So your knees are pointing up and your hands are on back behind you, feet to the floor. Go ahead and lift your hips up. So fingers can be pointing towards your heels, or the fingers can be pointed out to the side, depending on how your shoulders feel, how your wrist feels here. And you are activating your glutes. Glutes to press your hips into extension for this position. You do want your low back to be activated along with your hamstrings, and the whole back line of the body is activated here. Breathing deep, opening up those shoulders. Okay, and then slowly releasing. Okay, we're going to try a balance in our crab position. Something that I do a lot in my HIIT classes is the dancing crab, but we're going to slow it down. So kind of like the bird dog, but flipped upside down here, lifting your hips in crab. And we're going to lift the right leg and the left arm off the ground and maybe touch them together. So shifting your weight when you're ready, holding, holding as you do. So holding up onto your toe, holding onto your calf muscle. And release down. Okay, switching sides. So the left leg. So you can do the left leg first, and then when you're ready, that right arm is going to reach up. So maybe you're here. Maybe this is all you can muster today. But if possible, grab onto your foot. And I'll try and do the same and hold that position. Once you've stuck that position and are holding the foot, then keep lifting up through your hips. Try not to sink down and do that. That's the tough part, is keeping your right leg activated to push up. All right, releasing down and then releasing your hips down as well. Okay, next we're gonna go into butterfly bridge. So come onto the back and take your feet together in butterfly position, recline butterfly. Arms alongside your body, and then just kind of point your hands up towards the ceiling, because we're really gonna drive through the triceps, the lever to the hips up here. So targeting the outer hips for this particular bridge position. Go ahead and lift your hips and squeezing glute. So targeting gluteus medius, outer hip muscle, and maybe just the larger glute muscle as well. Feet are pressing, so you all are pressing the soles of the feet together at the same time as you're lifting the hips into extension. So I'm rolled right up onto my shoulders, shoulder blades. And getting that activation with your glutes here. Pretty important for just that prep into wheel. But maybe you're just going to do bridge today, so that's fine too. Always good to practice. And then when you're done here, just take another deep breath in, and then your exhale, and then you're just releasing hips all the way down to the floor. So we're just doing a quick windshield wiper here. Back and forth, knees moving left and right. All right, so next is bridge, regular bridge, or if you'd like to try the upward facing bow, then you can go ahead and try that as well. If you have a yoga ball and you just want to practice opening up the shoulders on the yoga ball for the duration of the bow, that's fine as well. So having a bridge pose, just arms alongside the body and then lifting the hips up. You grab onto the edges of the mat and reach your knees forward, pressing into your feet. If you're moving into the upward bow, plant your hands onto the floor alongside your ears, and fingers are pointing towards your heels and your elbows are pointing up. So first is you're pushing into your feet and your hands at the same time to come up onto the crown of the head, and then secondly, you're pushing all the way up, extending your arms and pressing into your feet at the same time. Dropping the head back. Try to breathe as best as you can. Holding for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. And then slowly lower, head first, and then coming all the way down. Windshield wipers, just to stretch that out again. Relax the low back. Twists are always good following back bend. So if you ever feel like you've if you've done something to your back, if you've kind of overextended into your low back, give yourself a quick twist or longer twist into your knees, moving your knees left to right, like I'm doing in the windshield wipers, and that should feel a lot better, getting your spine back into a neutral position. Also, you can just stay with your knees bent and just over time just feel that your low back is pressing into the floor. Think about almost when you're lying down like this, you're tucking your tailbone under, so you're flattening out your low back and just allowing that to neutralize. So take another deep breath in and out. Okay, moving into happy baby pose, which could also be a bug pose. So dead bug or bug position, grabbing onto your feet and just holding here. And then grabbing on, or bring your knees together. And then we're going into some scales now. We're going into fish and flying fish to end it all off. And then move into our cooling down poses. So grab onto the knees, pull your knees in, rock up. So you're on your seat. Take your hands back behind you and lay back down. So this is the first step here is just kind of opening your shoulders. You're opening through your upper, so your thoracic spine here, and your neck if you're going to drop your head back. So you can start to stretch your legs out here on the beach, and this is where you stay. So if you feel like this is a good starting point and you don't want to go any further, then stay here. If you'd like to go further, you can slide your elbows down even more Your thumbs are not quite underneath your seat, but they're right beside your hips. And then dropping your head back. So holding there. So the elbows are pushing up, so they're pressing they're pulling the shoulder blades behind you, so that you're getting that extension in the upper spine. So fish position, Vinyasa. You can also do this supported by putting a block simply underneath your shoulder blades as well. And that way it's a little more relaxing, and you can just kind of let your body be supported by the block. Okay, for flying fish, you're taking your legs off the floor. Head still back, engaged legs, engaged abs, pointed feet. Extension through the spine, keep your heart lifting, and then lowering the legs. Lift your head up first, and then relax onto the floor. Bend in your knees, and then come back into happy baby or your bug position. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Okay, so now some twists here to help relax the body more into Shavasana mode. We're going to hold on to the right knee and let the left leg go away. Squeeze the right knee in towards the chest. Guide the right knee across over to the left side and close down to the floor. Your right arm is reaching out to the right, and maybe your head follows over to the right as well. So deep breaths coming in, deep breaths moving out. Try to relax as best as you can, sinking deeper into the pose, breath by breath. Slowly start to bring yourself back to center and give yourself a hug. Bring both knees in, head in. Relax. Grab onto the left knee and let your right leg go away onto the floor. Squeeze that knee in towards your chest. Guide the knee over to your right side. Let the left arm reach out to the left. This big stretch across the body. Breathing into that stretch. Take your time when you're coming back to center. Give yourself a hug. Bring the knees in. Grab in. Relax your head onto the floor. Feet onto the floor. Feet wide and knees wide. Bring your arms open and let's do windshield wipers. Again, back and forth. We're going to add some hold here, so just going back and forth here, breathing into that stretch. Try to really drop your knees down as close as you can to the floor each time you come to the left side and right side. Breathing into that stretch there in your hip flexors and outer hip there. So next time your knees go to the right side, just hold them there, and you're kind of trying to draw that left inner knee down to the floor, the outer right knee down to the floor as best as you can. Holding that position, now take your head, tilt it over to your right side so that your chin is pulling towards your right shoulder. Pull it right in and try to keep the left shoulder down to the floor. So this side, left side, really heavy, really relaxed. Okay, now slowly come up and let's go to the other side. Let the knees drop over to the left side. So you're drawing with your outer left knee down, your inner right knee all pulling down, kind of activate that way. Keep your arms out, your head is tilting all the way to the left side. Pulling your chin to your left shoulder as best you can, and trying to really keep your right shoulder glued to the floor. All the while breathing deep. Deep breaths in, deep breaths out. Notice the sensation that you feel in the stretch. And then slowly start to bring it back to center. Okay, one leg at a time. We're moving into Shavasana. So stretch it out, take your arms alongside your body. Feel free to move into a seated position as well. And I'll just guide you through some relaxation exercise and breath exercise to focus on for the next few moments. So getting situated, getting grounded wherever you are, sitting or lying down. Just notice the ground that you're resting upon. Try to sink deeper in through that ground as if your body is setting roots through the floor, through the earth. Begin relaxing or closing your eyes and then take a deep breath in through the nose. Nice slow deep breaths, filling your lungs and filling your belly completely. And then a nice slow breath out through the mouth or out through the nose. And allow your facial muscles to relax as you're doing that slow exhale out. Notice your chest lowering, notice your lower back pulling down to the floor with that exhale. And keep breathing in, so in your next inhale, again filling your lungs, filling the belly, filling the sides of your body, maybe even a deeper breath in this time, and then a long, slow, deep breath out again. Making those exhales just a little bit longer than your inhale. So once you think you're finished exhaling, see if you can exhale out a little bit longer by 1 or 2 seconds. Notice the sound of your breath moving in and the sound of your breath moving out. And notice the feeling of your body in space here on the floor. The heels in Shavasana, your heels are digging in, relaxing, heavy calves, backs of legs, thighs, and glutes. Whole right leg and left leg, completely relaxed. Notice your breath running along the length of your spine as you're resting on the floor. Notice the subtle lift and the subtle fall with your breath. From mid-back to the upper back, the shoulder blades, right up through the neck. Cross backs of arms, relax further into the floor, along with the forearms and backs of the hands. Completely relax through the right arm and left arm. Bring your awareness back up to the sides of the neck. Soften through the back of the neck to completely let the head go and rest on the floor or on the mat. Or just in sitting position, just right above your hips, all in line with your spine. Bring your awareness to the top of the head. Relax through the hairline, then the forehead, then all the muscles around your eyes. Completely relax the muscles in your jaw and mouth, and let the tongue and the mouth go completely still. Once again, following your breath as it comes in through the nose, fills the lungs, fills the belly, and then slowly moves out again. Softening through the collarbones, the chest, and the abdomen. So slowly bring your attention back to your breath once again. Allow the breath to come in smoothly through your nose. Fill the lungs. Lifting your back off the floor on an inhale and then lowering back onto the floor on the exhale. Taking some small movements through your fingers, through your toes, and slowly reawaken bit by bit here. Any small stretches, any twists, windshield wipers again, rocking the head from side to side, yawning. Moving intuitively, and just wherever it feels good in your body, to stretch right now, listening to your body completely. Rolling or rocking over onto your right side, and making your way up to seated position, continuing on your meditation practice, or leaving for now. So namaste, everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight or in the future. This is the last Facebook Live, I think, for now. We're going to go into the studio next Monday, or it'll be an outside class, kind of depending on the weather. So it'll be alternating between outdoor and studio and get things rolling again. So thanks for joining me, guys. Share this video, like this video, watch it again, and yeah, see you guys later. Bye.